So hi, I'm an institutional ethnographer, which means that the research methodology of inquiry I use to explore health work is the alternative sociology developed by Canadian feminist scholar Dorothy Smith. Institutional ethnography, also known as IE, gives us a way to create a specific kind of map that shows how people within institutions are organized to work in ways that force them to meet far different agendas than those that the front lines are trying to achieve. Under new public management, concepts like efficiency and effectiveness have become cornerstones of healthcare and other major institutions, and programs designed to speed up throughputs in a wide range of industries have been adopted with the understanding that they could also work for people navigating healthcare. Implementing these strategies depends on creating what Smith called institutional circuits. Within these circuits, people whose work is to increase efficiency design institutional processes dependent on specific categories that are expected to make things happen more effectively. Decisions about how to translate these processes into practice are delivered to the front lines in the forms of new documents, forms, computer programs, and the checkboxes, drop-down menus, pathways, and triggers that we all love every day create a blueprint of what people can and can't do. Those working on the front lines are retrained to report their work by collecting data based only on these categories, with limited ability to question where the changes came from or where the information is going to. The effectiveness of their work is then measured strictly by evaluating data that fits within these predetermined categories. Everyone is instructed to consider anything that does not fit as irrelevant or inconsequential. The circuits get increasingly tighter as research and quality improvement initiatives demonstrate success of the programs by measuring the exact same validated categories. As this circular evidence mounts, individuals at all levels are held accountable solely by their ability to keep the circle intact. Frontline work becomes less about meeting needs and more about producing standardized data. When predetermined goals are not met, the evidence is deployed to ensure these accountability circuits themselves are not questioned. By default, any outliers who are not a neat fit become a problem. Patients who, for whatever reason, don't present themselves in acceptable ways are gaslit, screened out, labeled as non-compliant, and refused care. Care providers who recognize the limits of the circuits and attempt to work around them are seen as disruptive troublemakers and forced to choose between realigning with institutional processes or walking away. Smith calls IE an alternative method of inquiry because, unlike research approaches that frame the investigation within the same institutional circuits, IE begins in the embodied experience of workers who find themselves pulled between what they know about their work and how they're expected to present their work to others. By recognizing and acknowledging this tension, which we call bifurcated consciousness, IE offers a unique voice to those at the front lines. We start our research alongside the people that institutions claim to be serving and pay close attention to those moments where what frontline workers do and how they report what they do are out of alignment. Rather than attempting to interpret what we're seeing from this viewpoint, we use these misaligned moments, or disjunctures as Smith calls them, as entryways into the social organization. We empirically examine the ways data is reported, and IE researchers plot where this information goes and how it is used. Our findings draw on elements of counter-cartography, which I could speak. I'm just going to leave that out there because that in itself is a whole talk. But to map the complex webs of financial, political, and legal agendas that organize what people at all levels of an institution can and cannot do.
30 seconds.
In doing so, we make visible how, in order to survive in the system, people are hooked into processes that often force them to work against their own and others' best interests.